Are you ready?
I
You
am
look
ready.
so
Yes.
pretty. Hi everyone, I am here today with a new friend, Elysha Lenkin, who is a personal fashion stylist, and I'm so excited to talk to her because, in our virtual world right now, I feel like everybody needs a little bit of the confidence boost. Hi Elysha, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. I was so excited when you scheduled the time with me. So can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your journey to today?
Yes. Well, I am a personal fashion stylist, as she just mentioned, and I got my start styling way back in the 90s, and this was way before anybody even knew what a stylist was. I live in New York City, and I've always been in New York City. And I started working on commercial shoots. I did a lot of magazines. I did a lot of celebrities and brands, advertisements, commercials. I did all this stuff. So that was how I got my start. That was the bulk of my career. When I first started, nobody knew what a stylist was. And I would always have to explain what the job was. There was no Instagram. There was no hashtag BTS. There was always a moment of education when I would tell people what I did, and everyone would be like, oh my God, that sounds like so much fun. It's a lot of work as well, but it definitely is a fun job for sure.
So how did you, especially you mentioned nobody really knew what it was, but how did you yourself get into it? Were you curious about fashion as a child? Were you sewing your own clothes? Like how did that, and what inspired you to become one?
Yeah. So when I was young, I was always into personal style. I was always into creative self-expression. Since I was in elementary school, I loved shopping with my mom. I loved putting on new clothes, I love putting together outfits is really what I love to do. I love to mix and match and put things together and see what I could come up with. Sometimes it was really great and I would get compliments from even adults would comment on what I was wearing, and sometimes it was a little weird because I was always experimenting and I was trying new things. I just had a lot of fun. So I moved to New York back in the early 90s. And at that time, I was very friendly with a lot of freelance photographers. So that's how I was introduced to the freelance photography industry, because of these people, these friends that I knew, and they brought me in and they started giving me my jobs. So it happened very organically. And so my creative expression, it was always about putting my outfits together, but then it became about how can I pull someone else's essence out of the clothes that they're wearing? How can my creative expression be about someone else's outfit? And that's what it really turned into.
That's amazing. It's truly amazing how you followed your passion as a child. That's so amazing. I said it already 3 times, but I will continue saying this because I love it so much. On your website, you say that most of your career, which you also just mentioned as well, most of your career you spent on the sets of New York City commercial shoots styling women, and you worked with people, I think you mentioned Tina Fey and some other celebrities, but now you decided to focus on rather not now, I don't know how many years you've been doing this now with everyday women, with real women like you and I. What pulled you away from celebrities into the, what inspired you to make the change?
So what happened was, so I was always a freelance fashion stylist, meaning that I was in the gig economy. There were ups and there were downs, after 9/11, that was a big downturn. So I rode the wave, and there was a period when I was in a slow period, and I was searching on Craigslist. I was looking for a gig. I needed to get some work, and I saw that a woman was looking for a personal stylist. And I thought, oh, okay, a personal stylist. Yeah, I could do that. So I submit my link to my portfolio and she booked me. I got the gig. And when I started working with this woman, she was a very successful entrepreneur. She owned a race car driving company. I had never met anybody in that business before. And I started working with her, and really quickly it became so clear to me that, wow, she's really struggling. So she had really large breasts. She wore a size triple D, and she just saw that as a liability. She had no idea how to get dressed. So every morning she would start her day in anger and frustration at her body. She would get into this battle between her body and her wardrobe. Her wardrobe would end up in a pile on her bed, and she would start her days from this place. So when I realized that she was struggling, I realized that other successful women were struggling. It didn't come easy to them. It wasn't natural. Like for me, it was always so easy, so natural, so fun. But I realized that for these other everyday women, that it wasn't like that. So that's when I decided. I worked with her. I said, I'm going to help. I did help her. I helped her figure out exactly what to wear, how to wear it, and how to feel amazing in your clothes. I decided that that's what I was going to do with everyday real women now. That is what I do now, is I help everyday real women dress with confidence so that they show up and they love how they look, they stand taller, and they really step into their full power.
Yeah, that's thank you so much for doing this for women. What other challenges have you been noticing that some women are facing? I mean, I can't even, I mean, what you just described for someone who starts their day like this, you know, in frustration, it must be incredibly difficult then to go on and, you know, and you said she was a successful entrepreneur, so it must have also been affecting a lot of her day, you know, and relationship with people and things like that. So what other challenges have you been noticing, and how do you help women?
So, well, first of all, I think that time is a big constraint for a lot of women. And what I mean by that is that they're busy. Most women and people are busy in their lives. So they're busy, and they have put their style, and it's really more than just the clothes you wear. It is your presence. It is how you show up. It is the energy that you put out. Therefore, it is the energy you're going to get back. So people are busy. They don't realize the power that has to be intentional with your personal style. So I think that they just don't even acknowledge that it is something that they need to think about. For example, a woman who I'm working with right now, she told me that she didn't realize the true cost of what it had been for her. She never put any effort. She never put any thought into how she was showing up and how she was presenting herself. She always was, she said most of her clothes were either from thrift shops or they were even just given to her. So she never even bought anything for herself, thinking that she was saving money. And as she's working with me, she's realizing the true cost is that she didn't have her own style, meaning that she wasn't owning her own presence. She wasn't standing tall in her power. She was just wearing what kind of fell on her lap without any intention, without any thought, and it's held her back. She sees that now in her career, how it keeps her small. It keeps her playing small, and she's not stepping into her full confidence.
Yes, no, definitely. Clothes do matter. You know, they definitely make you feel confident, right? And for women, I mean, actually, I would be curious to hear what you think about this. I read somewhere a while ago, you know, there's this term, it's called decision fatigue. And when it comes to clothes, like for men, I feel like it can be so easy. I remember reading about President Obama, how he would have whatever suits, right? Like in certain colors, and it would remove this sort of decision-making necessity to like think what I need to wear. You know, for women, I feel like we always, well, I guess there are some women who don't necessarily even think about that. But for me personally, I don't know if it has anything to do with me growing up in Russia. You know, we love to change clothes all the time. Do you see that also? How like for some women, it's sort of it's important to have help maybe to like put those outfits together so that they don't have to think about this.
I absolutely think it is something, again, that women need to be intentional about. And here's where I see the real problem is. So yeah, I understand the idea of the uniform. Steve Jobs
Mm-hmm.
did that.
Mm-hmm.
It simplifies. And while I'm not suggesting that everybody puts on a uniform, I am actually all about, creative self-expression, experimentation, having fun. But what I do think is important is that what you have in your wardrobe needs to be curated, and it needs to be relevant to who you are, to your body, to your life, to your personality. And I think what happens, or actually I know this is what happens because I see it with my clients, is they just become these holding tanks, their closets, and they're holding on to their, their lives 15, 20 years ago when they were going out all the time, and, girls' night out, or whatever it is that they were doing 15 years ago, or maybe it was a different body, holding on just in case they get back to that body. So that's what happens. So that's where it really is important to curate your wardrobe so that what you have in there is relevant, and that's going to help you with your decision fatigue, because when there's too much in there, too much clutter, too many bad decisions, bad options, that's just going to lead to a sense of powerlessness, and you're going to end up wearing something that's not going to help you feel confident.
Yeah, and flatter you. Now that we are all, in this pandemic, unfortunately, and a lot of people are, forced to switch their business to virtual. First of all, how did it affect you? And second, what do you recommend, or what do you recommend for women who need to still feel confident, obviously, when they take virtual meetings? And do you notice any differences between, in-person presence and virtual presence? Does it affect people? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so first of all, as far as how it's impacted me, I set up my business virtually 2 years ago. I decided 2 years ago that I wanted to have an online styling business. So I work now with my clients virtually. I've got clients who are in North Carolina, in Seattle, in Missouri. So they're all over the country. I set them up. They've got their own virtual closet. They've got their digital lookbook. So everything basically is like an app on their phone, so that instead of like, what should I wear, opening up the closet and seeing overwhelm, it's like, what did Elysha curate for me today, right?
Very
it's
nice.
Just kind of picking things out like that. So that is all sorted, and I love working with my clients virtually. So here's what I think about as far as your presence and how that's impacted when we're now doing these face-to-face meetings. So first of all, I do believe that your presence transmits. I do believe it transmits through the screen. So it is important to keep your game strong. In fact, there is less distraction now. Now when we're doing our calls, we're looking at someone so intensely with such focus, whereas when you're in person, you've got other things going on around that are taking part of the frame, right? So they're calling your attention, and now people are just lasering in and on who you are, what you're wearing, how you're presenting. So it does matter a lot, and I do think it transmits through the screen. I mean, I think we all know, I don't know if you've ever been with somebody like a celebrity or someone who's really charismatic. You can feel that energy, and that energy does transmit through a Zoom call, through a virtual chat. So it is definitely just as important, if not even more important, to pay attention to the tiny details, because they're even more noticeable now.
Yeah. But have you noticed, have any women told you like, oh, I am extra insecure that I need to take a meeting virtually? Are you noticing any difference at all?
So the women that I work with, their meetings are now virtual. So I'm having clients engage me to work with them on their Zoom presence specifically. So we are having sessions specifically to get their frame beautiful, so that they pop, so that people are looking where they want them to look. As far as people saying, I don't want to do that, I haven't met anybody who doesn't want to do it, but they are coming to me to help them to up their online game so that they can present just as strong online. Because like I said, it's those little tiny details that make a big difference. And people, the sad fact is that we're being judged. And I think it's 5 seconds, 7 seconds where they see you and it's like, boom, 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 boom. This is everything I think about you. So you have that amount of time to make your impression. So you want to nail it.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have, did you develop a special product around that? Like, is there a special service, what you just mentioned, to help with Zoom meetings?
So I work with my clients one-on-one. It's a program called Style Reinvention. And I basically take them through their style transformation, starting where they're at, and then they get to new clothes, new outfits, an entirely new understanding of what their style is and how to style themselves. Now, my clients who have gone through Style Reinvention, after you go through that program, because I need to understand who you are, what you like, what your body is, what your lifestyle is, I need to have this program. We need to work together like this first. From there, my clients now are re-engaging to work specifically on their Zoom presence.
Yes.
That's an offer that comes after you've worked with me through your Style Reinvention, and we know each other really well. We've established the relationship. So that's just going to help me help you better. The more I know you, the better I can help you and the better I can set you up to present your strongest.
Yeah, I love this approach that you first get to know them because, there's no such thing as, what's that expression? One size fits all, right? I love it how, you want to learn about me as a client and my specifics and all of that. I absolutely love it. Thank you for, taking such great care of your clients. Going back to what you said, how unfortunately, yes, we are being judged all the time. I also, that I do portrait photography, and this is also what I tell my clients sometimes, right? It's not even 5 seconds. It's like you get a blink of an eye, for somebody to sort of like scan you and make an opinion about you, which is unfortunate, but it's what it is. So when it comes to photography, right, I talk to them about the facial micro expressions, like the lighting in the picture and things like that. Like when somebody is looking at your LinkedIn profile and they see your photo, again, you get like a blink of an eye to make a great impression. And so you worked with celebrities on commercial sets. You worked with photographers. What are your thoughts on how to approach portraits? What do you recommend in terms of, what to wear? Like I wore this dress today specifically for you so that you can maybe critique me a little bit. I normally say to my clients that I don't recommend necessarily patterns unless you want to make a statement. I recommend wearing solid colors. So I was curious, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree that solid colors are going to be really clean. I love a clean aesthetic. So solid colors are going to be really clean. Get a solid color in one of your colors. Would be really important, because when you wear your colors, it makes you look more vibrant. It makes your eyes brighter and everything feels more alive, right? So that's definitely going to be a safe bet to do it. So again, I like to make these recommendations based on who I'm talking to, because it's not one size fits all. It's going to be different for every single person. So that would be the safe bet, would be to wear a solid color and wear it in your color so that your face looks really vibrant. Now, the next thing I would want to know is who you are. What is the message that you're trying to convey? For example, you see my background here is very patterned and got a lot going on because I'm creative. I'm fun. I'm a little whimsical. So that's part of my message. And sometimes, I'll be mixing these prints up, and that's okay, because that's what I want to convey. So for you, you're a photographer, you're a creative. What I love about what you're wearing right now, I love the color. It's vibrant, it's punchy. What I really love about it, though, is that you're showing skin. You went sleeveless, so that grounds it down. Do you see what I'm saying? That sort of grounds the whole thing, so it's not so crazy, or it's not, the pattern isn't the strongest thing, because your skin color, you know, it matches with your face. So it works overall. It creates a balanced look. So I love how you've got the portion of pattern. You're creative, you know, your message can be a little bit more vibrant and a little bit more playful if that's what you choose, because that's what that print is telling me. If you wanted it to be a little bit more classic, then, you know, maybe you would do the solid raspberry color that's in there, or something like that, to really, you know, bump it up, but keep it a little bit cleaner. You really need to know what your message is, and also who you're talking to.
Yes.
You got to be aware of who your audience is, and who, you know, what you're going to tell them.
Yeah, thank you. And I personally, I love colors, which was, well, I don't know, funny is the right word, but you know, there's this stereotype about New York, or New Yorkers, that, you know, people love wearing black most of the time. And so I sometimes feel of myself as, think of myself as this like pop of color, because I wear all kinds of different colors. But speaking of colors, you also mentioned that we need to be aware of what our colors are. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's it's a pretty in-depth conversation, and you know, color analysis is something that you need to. So it's based on your skin. It's based on your eyes. It's based on your coloring. You know, surprisingly, your hair is the least important of that data. It's really about your skin and your eyes, but you want to have your colors be in harmony with your colors. Okay, so the way that you figure this out is a bit of a process that you would work with someone, and it is about comparing, right? So you compare the warm color with the cool color. Okay, so, and you really have to put the colors up to you to do this. You can't just look at someone and say, oh, I mean, you can have an idea. The more I do it, the more I have ideas. But sometimes I'm surprised. For example, just last week, so I actually recently just invested in this virtual color analysis tool that I want to, so I can really do for my clients, really nail their colors virtually. So I just did someone, and I thought for sure she was a warm toned spring, and no, she's summer. She's cool. She's summer. And I figured this out by the comparing. So it's a process of comparing and analyzing, that you go through these specific, it's a pattern. You go through this pattern, and then you end up with their colors. So like I said, it's something that's very personal. It's very customized, and it's something that you really need someone to help you do for yourself.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So you said summer, so there's like all of the 4 seasons. So how does that work?
So it started out with 4 seasons, and then what happened was, so as a kid, I loved it. It was the 4 seasons, and I'm really little, and my mom, we did it, and I was very easily the autumn, and she was very easily the winter, and everything was easy for us. We knew our colors, right? But what happened was, as the years went by, people got angry because they weren't falling into those colors so easily because of all the different shades of skin. So now it's a 12 season. It's 12 seasons. So each season has 3 versions of it. And that's what it is now. So, you know, you could be a light spring, a clear spring, you know, so each season is now broken down based on muted or bright. So like I said, it's gotten a little bit more complex. But it still is very effective. I happen to stay the same. My coloring is very clearly the autumn palette. I did my mom, you know, she's still the winter, but other people are now falling into a deep winter or a bright winter. So it's just broadened out a little bit more to include all the different tones of skin that there are, skin shades.
This must be so much fun to do this for people.
I love it. OMG. I get obsessed. So I get obsessed, you know, my entire family. So it's just funny because my husband, you know, he's now working from home doing Zoom calls. And he just told me yesterday that he got on a call with someone, and she said, you know, I hope this isn't inappropriate, but that green looks great on you. And he's like, my wife did my color wheel. And she's like, what's that? Like, I love doing it because for me, I'm very visual. And I love making people look beautiful. I love looking at beautiful things. So to do those comparisons of people with the different colors it's just so fun, and it's a little challenging, and I just love, and I'm kind of obsessed with it, to be quite honest.
But I mean, it's I think because it's challenging, it makes it more fun, right? I mean, if it wasn't challenging,
you don't know. Like I said, I just did a client. I was so sure she was a spring, and then I was like, oh, gee, she does not look good in these spring colors. Like, and then it's exciting, you know. And then I get to say, here's your colors, and people just get so happy when they. I mean, it makes your shopping and you're getting dressed so much easier when you now know that you're working within this palette, and there is every color in that palette for the most part. For the most part, to be honest, most people do not look good in black. It's not to say don't wear it, because I think there is a time and a place to wear black, but you know, generally speaking, within every for everyone's colors, there is almost every shade, not every shade, but almost every shade, that you just have to do the warm or the cool or the muted or the bright version of it.
Yeah. You mentioned your husband and that you styled him. Do you work with men at all? Do you help men? Do they come to you for help?
I used to style men on shoots all the time. My passion is styling real women. That's my passion. Yeah. Men, my husband, you know, he gets some styling as just a family member, and it's better for both of us if he's well styled.
Okay. That's a perk that you get, right? Like from when you're married. But I mean, are there significant differences between like styling men and women, like when it comes to color? Or
not color is the same. Color is just about your skin and your eyes and then your hair, but it's all very customized, you know, based on the man, you know, obviously. So what I found in all the men that I've styled, when I would get a big shoot, I would get these shoots and I'd have like 30 people to do. The men were always easier because they had less options. So when I'm styling 30 people, like I just want things to be easier. So the men were very straightforward and very easy. Generally speaking, the men were less picky. So generally the men were easier on shoots, but now that I'm working with private clients, it's just more exciting and more fun for me to help women really come into their own with their style, because that's really what I'm doing. It's, you know, I'm not just shopping for them and getting them new clothes. Like the shopping is just one small part of the whole style reinvention. It's these women come in and they want to own their style. They want to know how to make it work for them. So there's a lot of education going on. And what I find with men is they kind of just want you to get them the clothes. So hopefully, you know, a lot of men can find someone to do that for them. But I'm really interested in taking the woman from where she is now to her style transformation, and the difference that it gives for them is just, for me, this is why I keep coming back and working with women.
Yeah. No, it's definitely very rewarding. And I know it also through photography, because I also prefer to work with everyday women. And when I show them a photo of them that I just took on the back of my camera, it's like a small screen, right? But with all of the things that we've done, the makeup and hair and the lighting and everything like that. And I was like, oh, is that me? I was like, yes, that's you. You're gorgeous. Like, you really are gorgeous. So that experience is definitely very rewarding. So I totally, I totally.
They're complementary. You know, you and I are in complementary fields.
Yeah, definitely. What other sort of services do you offer to people? How do you?
So right now, as I mentioned, the style reinvention is the first service that you're gonna experience with me. That's what you do when you want to work with me. You go through your style reinvention. We get you all set up with that. From there, then we work more on a personal basis based on what your needs are. So I have clients who need help packing. I have clients who seasonally is a big thing. They want to get their outfits ready for the next season. That's a big one. I've had women who have wanted me to help them with their closets, like do more clearing, you know, more curating. So after we do your style reinvention, then we go on a more customized approach, and it really, we talk about where you are, what you need. Like, for example, I mentioned right now, I have a woman, she's wrapping up her style reinvention. She's going to do the Zoom. She wants to work on her Zoom presence. So, you know, sometimes they want to do more shopping, you know, so it just depends on what she wants to do, but it becomes more personalized at that point.
Yeah. And you have an email list, you send articles to people, right? Like the tips.
Yes. Yes, so I am a teacher at heart, so I love teaching. So I have a lot of really valuable style tutorials and blog posts that are on my site. I do master classes regularly. I just did one called helping you dress your body better. I've got a challenge going on starting next week, curated closet challenge. So I really love to engage my community, and I really love to teach them and get to know them. And so I'm constantly offering free content so that women can improve their personal style. So I also have a free Facebook group right now. It's called Closet Shopping Collective. And we're in there, we're energizing our style, putting together new outfits with our old clothes. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for me to,
of course,
engaging with everybody and teaching them and helping them and watching them get better. They're getting better.
Definitely. Yeah, again, it's like going back to the how rewarding it is, right? To see somebody, you know, get more confident and more empowered. It's I mean, yeah, it's like my most favorite thing to experience when I work with people. So what is the best way? How can people find you?
The best way to find me is in my website, ElyshaLenkin.com. And if you go right there, then right away you will get greeted by, I have an opt-in right there. It is 5 ways to flatter your figure. So you can sign up and you'll get this style guide that'll give you tips on how to flatter your body shape. And then you will start receiving my style advice. I send out style advice to my email subscribers regularly. You could also join my free Facebook group, which is called Closet Shopping Collective. And that I'm in there all the time going live with style tutorials. So that is another way to find me.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience before we close, before we wrap?
Well, one other thing I want to mention is one of the reasons that I find that women, I mentioned about their time, not having enough time, so they put it on the back burner. So that is one reason that women don't invest in their personal style. But I think what goes along with that is a lot of women don't really believe that they're worth it. They don't believe that they're worth that investment, because it is a commitment to themselves. And especially if you have a career, or you're a mom, or you're just used to doing things for other people, I find that that is a reason that holds women back, and it keeps them from fully stepping into their power. So I just want your listeners to know that they are worth it. Yes. And they are worth that time, they are worth that energy, and they are worth that commitment, not only for themselves, because when they put that into themselves, then they can be an inspiration to those around them.
Exactly. It's I mean, we definitely know this as women, that our tendency is to put everyone before ourselves, but once you actually start taking care of yourself first, then everybody around you benefits, right? So it's not some women think it's selfish, I guess, right, to take care of herself, but it's not. It's the opposite of selfish.
That's exactly it. It's the trickle-down effect. I'm a mom, so I always went by the belief that when mom's happy, then everyone else is happy. And fortunately, my husband subscribes to that. So
that's good. That's so good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Elysha, so much for your time. I really enjoyed getting to know you. I'm Ellen, if you're watching, thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you, Elysha. Thank you, everyone who tuned in today. I hope if you liked it, I'm sure you liked it. So please like this below and subscribe. I will be bringing more interesting guests as Elysha, and you will learn something new. Thank you so much. Bye.